Structure and functions of analytical thinking. Every thought in the analytic is not the exception is composed of 8 basic elements. When thinking, questions are asked and information based on data, facts, observations and experiences is used. One thinks of a purpose with a point of view or frame of reference that is based on assumptions, that is, assumptions that are taken for granted. These assumptions lead to implications and consequences. In the process of thinking, concepts, theories and definitions are used that allow interpretations and inferences, that is, conclusions or solutions. Analytical thinking involves the application of the rules of logic and the search for truth through inferential processes. In addition, he develops logical thinking, reinforcing the capacities to reason with order, analyze, compare and synthesize. To carry out this process are useful tools such as mental map, the synoptic chart, the word clouds and the timeline. The analytical thinking is functional for problem solving, because it allows the vision from different angles and perspectives, the reflection and the learning of new strategies. In decision-making, the analytical thinker collects information, analyzes it by looking for different solution alternatives and selects the most appropriate one according to its criteria. Putting analytical thinking into practice. With all the above, you can build a practical framework of analytical thinking applicable to problems in any area of study, work or everyday situation. The steps in the analytical process are listed below, and the reader is invited to associate each step with the topic he or she wishes. As an example, 2 practical cases are very common in everyday life: a vehicle in the garage and a customer service executive of a cell phone company. Thinking about the purpose: repair the vehicle, solve the problem of the customer who does not turn on the cell phone. Expose the question: what is that noise that has the vehicle? What is the failure of the cell that does not allow it to light? Gather information, to know when the fault was presented, how it worked, the vehicle or the cell phone, before presenting the fault, what was the last thing that happened to it, if there are other problems in parallel, when was the last maintenance, service, etc. To put forward the points of view. Motor noise is typical of carburizing problems. It could also be an electrical problem. The cell phone is old, the battery has a limited lifetime, the power button may be damaged. Verify assumptions: the carburetor is checked, the battery of the cell phone is changed. Thinking about the implications: if the carburetor is fixed, the spark plugs must also be replaced. If a new battery is inserted and the problem persists, the ignition button must be changed. The concepts, knowledge, are used to make the inferences. Reasonable conclusions must be accurate, with sufficient evidence, relevant. The carburetor was in terrible condition, the battery and the ignition button on the cell phone were fine, but the customer did not know how to turn it on. Although the conclusions are based on evidence, this does not necessarily mean that these evidences are accurate, sufficient or absolute. The mere fact of reflecting on this leads to a deepening of the process of analytical thinking. Stay tuned. Happy learning!